Wonderfully done, darling. Thank you so much for the help.
I'm gonna link YouTube, okay?
Morning.
Good morning, Tom. Can hear you. Great. Hey there, Chris Parker. Good to see you, man. Just say hi before we get going. That way it's clear. All right. All right. Looks like everything is working. All right, we'll be ready with lesson 128 in just a moment or two, about 60 seconds. I'll get ready to go.
I don't expect much I don't expect much attendance today because it's Mother's Day. So I don't think.
I still expect to have
No, I know, but I'm thinking about people coming in.
I understand exactly what you
I don't hear you. But I don't hear anything.
I do. I don't know what to say. My headphones might be connected. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what's wrong. Something's wrong.
My microphone is on.
That's it. Good morning. Today, workbook lesson 128. The world I see has nothing that I want. And it's Mother's Day. So happy day to all you mothers out there.
Happy Mother's Day, Adriana.
Thank you, George. You're very kind. And Caroline, I guess you too. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Good morning, everybody. It's funny because now that I'm here, I'm gonna celebrate my Mother's Day like 3 times because today is Mother's Day here in North America. In Mexico is in Tuesday, and I will be with my daughter. And in Colombia is the next Sunday. So I will, and my birthday it's Monday tomorrow. My birthday is tomorrow, so I will have a full week of celebration, I guess.
How come your daughter's in Mexico?
That's where she lives.
Oh, that's where your daughter lives?
Yeah.
There's a whole backstory there that you'll have to explain, George. But I appreciate, and you don't know this, but you have a big part to play in it. So can't wait to tell you. But right now, I have to read lesson 128. Is it okay? You think you can wait? We have a great story.
Of course.
Ding dong. Good morning. It's Jesus. Come get your breakfast. All right. Today, lesson 128. The world holds nothing that I want. Ziggy, stop. I don't know what Ziggy was doing there, but I guess so. He was saying Happy Mother's Day. All right, back to the lesson. This world, the world I see, holds nothing that I want. The ego's fear-based world you see holds nothing that you need to offer you. Nothing that you can use in any way, nor anything at all that serves to give you joy. Believe this thought, that the world I see holds nothing that I want, and you're saved from years of misery, from countless disappointments, and from hopes that turned to bitter ashes of despair. No one but must accept this thought, that the world I see holds nothing that I want, as true, if he would leave the ego's fear-based world behind and soar beyond this world's pretty scope and petty scope and little ways. Each thing you value here is but a chain that binds you to the ego's fear-based world, and each thing you value of this world will serve no other end but to bind you to this world. Everything must serve the purpose you have given it, until you see a different purpose there. The only purpose worthy of your mind this world contains is that you pass this world by and place no value upon this world. By not valuing this world, you will not be delaying your journey of reawakening due to erroneously perceiving some hope where there is none. Be you deceived no more by the promises of your ego's plan for your salvation and happiness. The ego's fear-based world you see holds nothing that you want. Escape today the chains you place upon your split mind when you perceive salvation here in this world. For what you value, you make part of you as you perceive yourself. All things your ego seeks to make your value greater in your sight limits you further, hides your worth of your higher self from you, and adds another bar across the door that leads to true awareness of your higher self. Let nothing that relates to body thoughts delay your progress to salvation, nor permit temptation to believe the world holds anything that you want to hold you back. Nothing is here in this world to cherish. Nothing here in this world is worthy one instant of delay and pain. Nothing here is worth one moment of uncertainty and doubt. The worthless offer nothing. Certainty of worth cannot be found in worthlessness. Today, we practice letting go of all thought of values we have given to the world of the ego. We leave the world of the ego free of the purposes we gave its aspects and its phases and its dreams. We hold the world of the ego purposeless within our minds and loosen this world from all we wish it were. Thus do we lift the chains that bar the door to freedom from the world and go beyond all little values and diminished goals that the ego has placed upon this world. Pause and be still a little while and see how far you rise above the world when you release your mind from the chains and let your mind seek the level where it finds itself at home as your higher self. Your big S self's mind will be grateful to be free a while. Your higher self's mind knows where it belongs, but free its wings, and your higher self's mind will fly in sureness to join its holy purpose. Let your higher self's mind rest in its creator, there to be restored to sanity, to freedom, and to love. Give your higher self's mind 10 minutes at rest 3 times today, and when your eyes are opened afterwards, you will not value anything you see as much as when you looked at those things before. Your whole perspective on the world will shift by just a little every time you let your mind escape its chains of valuing the worthless. The world is not where it belongs, and you, your higher self, belong where the real world would be. There, the real world goes to rest when you release the real world from the world of your ego's erroneous beliefs and values. Your guide, the Holy Spirit, is sure, and safe and happy. This viewpoint binds us to the belief that something outside of ourselves is responsible for our happiness. Happiness is something that happens to us rather than through us. This viewpoint disempowers us while supporting our ego's belief in lack, limitation, and separation. Our ego's plan fails to recognize that our mind is the source for our happiness. We are told to seek for happiness, love, and peace where it cannot be found. We fail to realize our world is a mere reflection of the values of our own mind. This world was designed to provide false evidence to support your ego's belief in your littleness. When you value the things of this world, you bind yourself to your belief that you are your body. You accept your limitations that come with the physical body, and you argue for your own littleness. The body is a neutral communication device that holds a place on the game board of time and space. It's not who you are. By identifying with the body's needs as if they were your own needs, you hide and obscure your true big S self's identity, your higher self's identity. You can't see the true self you are. The second viewpoint that is prevalent in our society is that this world is a place where we come to suffer, do penance, be judged, and perhaps earn our way to heaven or some future reward, maybe, if we're lucky. In this case, it would seem as if the world would not be something that you would value or want. But that is not really the case. In this warped view of reality, your ego has transformed a God of unconditional love into a judgmental God. The world of the ego now becomes a proving ground in which you need to do something to earn God's favorable judgment so that you can be happy. In this case, your future rests on your ability to change your world to comply with how your ego believes God would want the world to be. Correcting the world becomes your function and your duty. This duty gives you the right to impose your will upon another in an effort to fix, change, control, protect, and impress in the name of both God and love. We value the world as a place where we can earn God's love back. The second viewpoint reinforces the erroneous belief that God's love is something that must be earned and can be lost. It maintains our ego's belief in sin, guilt, and separation, but most of all, it confirms that our ego is right and that God's love is not unconditional, and that our fear of God is justified, warranted, and real. This viewpoint that love can or must be earned is a major barrier in our willingness to accept God's plan for salvation. We see God as someone to fear. This fear becomes a major stumbling block in our willingness to accept the simplicity of God's plan for salvation. God's plan states that our egos need do nothing to earn our divine inheritance. It was freely given and could never be lost. We simply are asked to freely accept the at-one-ment or truth about ourselves. But accepting this truth is impossible as long as you believe this world could be either the source for your happiness or the place where you earn it. This world is not a place that can make you happy or rob you of your inner peace. It's not a place where you come to do penance, to earn some heavenly reward, or to make God love you. The world, this world, is not a place. It's an illusion that only appears to exist within your own state of mind. When you no longer value this world, the illusion will also disappear. Our question of the day: although valuing the things of this world is often seen as an impediment to spiritual growth, can you understand that your belief in the world is a place where you earn some reward that actually chains you to your fear-based thought system and the belief that God's love is not unconditional? I'll copy that into the chat. And you guys can take a minute to say hi, how you doing? We'll settle into our meditation and do our lesson. Thanks everybody for being here.
Hey, Tom, that was very well written. Thank you.
You're welcome, George.
I'm going through that exact lesson with work and trying to put things in perspective. And I had just made a post yesterday that I have to start concentrating on the connections, just the connections between people and not the product or not the performance or not the other things, the earner. And just concentrate on the people and spreading love and getting above all that. So I guess that's why I'm here today, because this lesson is definitely for me.
Well, we're glad you're here, George. Let's all take a nice deep breath and settle in. Our bodies are connected to the planet beneath us. Gravity pulls us down, and some surface and part of this planet is supporting you right now. So for a moment, we'll become connected with our bodies so that we have a place to start. I want you to start seeing the light inside of you growing. And I'll briefly go through where I'm connected. I'm standing right now, and so I'm picturing the center of my energy in my body, spreading down like roots growing deep into the earth, reaching down the the love of Mother Earth. And out horizontally from me is the love of all the world, all my brothers and sisters around me, my children, my son, daughter, those that I care about so much, all the lights in my life. They're all growing brighter and brighter as each of my chakras light up. I have the whole rainbow going through me. Red and orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. When you combine the whole rainbow, you get a pure white light. And that pure white light is who I really am, my soul. Bigger than my body, brighter than my body. Bright as the whitest, purest light you can imagine. And I want that energy to spread out and envelop the world with my love. As I spread my world, I do my function here on earth. As I do my function here on earth, I'm rewarded in heavenly ways that I can't see and I can't judge. The promise is that I don't even have the perception to judge it. Why would I try? The world I see has nothing that I want. As we go walking through this world, our eyes get dazzled with all kinds of things. Today, focus back on the white light, the pure soul part of yourself that spreads its love here on earth. Today, as we walk through the earth, remember the world you see has nothing that you need. It has nothing to offer you, nothing that you can use in any way, or anything at all that serves to give you joy. Believe this thought, and you're saved from years of misery, from countless disappointments, from hopes that turn to bitter ashes of despair. No one but must accept this thought as true if he would leave this world behind and soar beyond its petty scope and little ways. Each thing you value here is but a chain that binds you to the world, and it will serve no other end but this. For everything must serve the purpose you have given it until you see a different purpose there. The only purpose worthy of your mind this world contains is that you pass it by without delaying to perceive some hope where there's none. Be you deceived no more. The world you see has nothing that you want. Escape today the chains you place upon your mind when you perceive salvation here. For what you value, you make a part of you as you perceive yourself. All things you seek to make your value greater in your sight limit you further, hide your worth from you, and add another bar across the door that leads to true awareness of yourself. Let nothing that relates as much as when you looked on it before. Your whole perspective on the world will shift by just a little every time you let your mind escape its chains. The world is not where it belongs, and you belong where it would be, where it goes to rest when you release it from the world. Your guide is sure. Open your mind to him. Be still and rest. Protect your mind throughout the day as well. And when you think you see some value in an aspect or in an image of the world, refuse to lay this chain upon your mind and tell yourself with quiet certainty, this will not tempt me to delay myself. The world I see has nothing that I want. Today, these thoughts will free us to be joyful, to offer the truth to our brother and sister, to hold them in the highest place where they belong, to react with love to every invitation. When you're ready and you feel comfortable rejoining us in the room, I welcome you back to Clubhouse, where we come every morning to read these lessons. I'm learning these lessons in life today in a way I never would have expected a year ago. When we started this journey, I didn't know where it was going. I knew it was going to head up the mountain, metaphorically. I knew I've been trying to head up the mountain my whole life. And I've been looking for something to help me get back in touch with the part of me that I lost touch of so long ago. I welcome this book as a guide. The teaching that Jesus put in here is exactly what I needed to take the steps I needed to get back into heaven here on earth. We're meant to be here and be happy. This course leads us back to that point. It's the most important thing we can do with our day. That's why we start right here. Thank you for joining us today. I can tell you I had some miracles yesterday as I learned a little bit more how to respond with love when my ego calls out anything other than love. And it was a peaceful day. There was no fight. There was nothing to worry about. Dean got to play with his friend. Grace got to enjoy herself and make some beautiful artwork for her mom. So she's prepared for today. Kids are going to be happy. Everything's going to go perfectly fine. I have very high hopes for this Sunday, May 8th. And I'm so grateful each of you came to join me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here and completing the circle as we rise up in these teachings to get back in touch with our true source. Thank you, everybody.
I want to say something today. George, I want to thank you for showing up today specifically. And I'll tell you why. I missed it the first time Lee was reading it, but in the meditation, in paragraph 6, it says, "Peace and be still a little while, and see how far you rise above the world when you release your mind from chains and let it seek the level where it finds itself at home." We have talked about level confusion many, many times. It's where you and I first started to get deep into some dialogue. And level confusion is what happens on Earth because we're living in this very, very low imaginative piece of our mind. And as we learn from this book, we rise, and I'll read that last part again, and let it seek the level where it finds itself at home. And so it's not that this, we can't really say and continue to be really sane, there's nothing here. We could say there's nothing here that I want, yes, because it says the world I see has nothing that I want. What it is very low level mind business. It's where we put our mind, and if we keep it at a low level, we're going to be having to earn stuff and move here and move there. And the harder we try to earn stuff instead of learning from what's going on, but the more we're going to just stay stuck here. So this gives us the chance, the idea of peace and be still a little while, to start to see that there's an upper level of our mind that we want to go to. And as the book also continues to say, where it finds itself at home. That's where our home is. It's up at a higher level. If we find people who are living at a lower level interacting with us and it's uncomfortable, we leave if we can. If not, we seek to try and help them come maybe up a level or two. They might be higher than us. We'll know that too. And we will seek to learn things from them. We can learn from anybody. If we don't like something we're seeing, then we need to move up in our minds towards the kinds of things that this book teaches us. To go back to the world, I have to be out of my mind. I can't find things that are there, but I can find things to do, just like in any dark room, to enlighten the area of the world where I live. I can brighten things up. I can bring some joy to the room. If my mind is bringing, and the way I think about stuff in my spirit is thinking about joyful things, then I can rise up in the level and I can bring my environment up in that level and I can bring joy to the world as it is now. And as I continue to do that, again, according to the lessons, as I continue to do that, to try and bring joy, because it made a very specific point about joy, I can experience joy while I'm here in this world, as long as I keep the level of my mind in a spiritual place where I can make the world a little bit better here and there. I've been wanting to kind of say this idea for a while because it's not that we're going anywhere tomorrow. And it's not that all of a sudden the whole world sees something and the world disappears and all of this either. Time is still here. And we're here at this level in time for a reason. And I would say that the best reason to be here, and the only reason to be here, is to bring joy to myself and to my world. So that's my thoughts about today. Thank you.
That was great, Bob. Great level of clarity.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning, everybody. Hi, Tom. Go ahead. I will go after you.
Yeah, I was going to say that in regards to this world and living, one of the things that the Course says is if you want to reframe how you see things, it's probably easiest done by changing the purpose that you utilize something for. Uh, right now we've been brainwashed or brought up to believe that either the purpose of this world is for us to uh, make us happy because we're limited and therefore we have outside needs and that we have to seek outside for our happiness. The other viewpoint that's prevalent in this world is the idea that uh, we, because of our past being sinners, whether it's original sin or just our own actions, that we have to earn our reward, normally sometime in the future, whether it be a fantasy land uh, that we're to go to after death, or have some perhaps joy in this world. It's something that's to be postponed, but that we have to earn that right. The Course is saying that if we change our purpose and have our purpose be to use this moment to demonstrate the values that we have decided is our identity. Uh, that's where we're here for. So if we change our purpose to allowing time and space to give us the opportunity to demonstrate and to hone our skills in being our true self, love, and form, being a learner, not an earner, this world can become a place where we can, it can be a fun learning experience as opposed to some place where we have to earn something, whether it be some physical need or a little bit of happiness or some future reward. So if we reframe and say, I'm here to demonstrate what I value. And that's what this world does. The world throws circumstances our way, which uh, I'm going to say maybe push our buttons, but give us some situations where we can ask ourselves what love would have me do, and then see how we actually perform and gather feedback after that experience. We can move into the feedback stage of the creation cycle and look and say, how did we do? Did we get our results? Do I still need to practice honing my skills? And just realize that this is a learning a place for us to learn and grow and demonstrate what we truly value. And that makes this whole world a lot easier to cope with, and it can become a fun learning place to explore and demonstrate and grow. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you. It's funny because it's related to things, as always, that I experienced the day before. I'm reading this beautiful book that Lee handed me, The Third Jesus from Deepak Chopra, and it's such a great book, and it is so well aligned with what we do in A Course in Miracles. And I never took, because it is his book, so I never highlighted anything in the book because it's not my book. But yesterday I read something that was so powerful to me that I asked him permission to highlight some things, and now I know why I was so intensely drawn to highlight it because it's so accurate to what we are doing in today's lessons. Today's lessons for me is kind of problematic because it's really disregarding everything that I see with my eyes. And my eyes are like the strongest five sense, the strongest one among the five ones that we usually use, right? So I know that I'm not what I'm seeing, but how can I really disregard that if it is so strong in terms of the dynamics in my thought process? And the lesson of today is that, and it comes really along with what I'm going to read. It's not long, don't worry. I'm just going to read a part of it, because here the pack says, ordinary perception cannot see the whole, which is why Jesus spoke so much about making the blind to see. He asked his followers to develop what has been called second attention, or divine sight, the ability to know yourself as pure being beyond boundaries. When Jesus promised his followers that they would accomplish the same miracles that he had performed and even greater, he was speaking from second attention. Just as he didn't see himself in limitation, neither did he see them that way. To be the light of the world, you must understand that the world itself is light, that is, pure awareness manifesting in physical form. To develop second attention, you must attune yourself to it. First attention focuses on the material world. It dwells on appearance rather than essence. The light that Jesus referred to is invisible to the eye but apparent to the soul. When you think, say, or do anything, you are manipulating consciousness, or to put it in another way, you are using the stuff of awareness to create something. Just as jet fuel disappears in order to make a plane fly, consciousness disappears when it is used. Its potential turns into some sensation, thought, object, or event. So Jesus asks us to see through this disappearing act, through second attention. You can perceive yourself as awareness itself, not as one of its products and creations. There are many ways to catch such glimpses: meditating to reach inner silence, sensing the purity of nature, sudden flashes of innocence, an impulse of love, an intuitive connection to your muse, sensing inner guidance or a source of wisdom, a feeling that you belong in the larger scheme of life. Even though we all live by first attention and therefore lose ourselves in constant activity, we are also equipped to perceive the world through second attention. So whenever you have a flash of love, innocence, inspiration, awe, wonder, or joy, remind to yourself, this is the real me. And well, it comes along with some other works, but that was the things that I had to highlight yesterday. And I know now why. So if anybody wants to have a share, because really it's difficult to let go the idea that we are in this world with things and stuff around.
I have a share. I was thinking that when when I let go of the idea of coincidences, synchronicities, that's when I've completely made connection to the I am, because nothing is actually be a surprise anymore that it's that anything is coming up. I used to think, oh, that's so interesting. Everybody's thinking the same way. Oh, that's really cool. This lesson is it's such a coincidence. It's so synchronized. No, it is unfolding and being created right here, right now. It's like there is no real, there is none of that anymore. There is no surprise anymore, because I feel like I finally understand what's really happening in my world. What is really happening in my world? It's so hard to explain. I mean, I guess, but then again, it's simple. Sometimes these lessons feel complicated, and I think that's because the simplicity, it's just bringing it in different ways, and so some of those ways are not processed as easily as other ways, and then you realize, well, it's because I'm not open to it. I'm kind of like still separating something. But yeah, it seems that like now nothing seems to be surprising because I'm in my world. It's unfolding as it would. Um, Perfect. I don't know if I'm hitting the point,
You
but
nailed it. You nailed it. Because it's like, think about it this way. We, as the book and the Bible and everything else says, we are just we are just now being born again into a new world where our attention to the details and to looking at things and seeing these miracles, or call them synchronicities, whatever, it's the way it is. When a baby is born, they hardly can see any part of the world yet. They don't even, I don't think they differentiate colors for several weeks. And I don't remember all of those kinds of facts, but what we're doing is beginning to see this new world, this second world, and we're able to bring what Deepak says, second attention to this whole world, which is very miraculous. And if we were going back to the first time when we were just a baby, we're just beginning to see what's going on. We're blinking our eyes, and some things bring us a lot of pleasure, like when we eat or when we drink or whatever happens, just being introduced by the parents to us as a little baby. And it takes a while to get used to this body that we all of a sudden ended up in. How'd that happen?
you may
Didn't need it before. I don't know if I need it now, but I'll go with it for the time being. Um, so I really think that it does have some relevancy to the idea of it seems to be really similar if we put it in that light, that we have to learn. We have to learn that there's no earning. How does a baby earn the right to have a meal? No, it's a miracle. Just when I'm hungry, oh, there's the food. How about that? So um, it's really amazing when we think about stuff like this, because if this room weren't here and it didn't have some other people to share this kind of thinking with, which would sound crazy to anybody else here, um, at least some of us can relate to what I'm saying. Some of us are ahead of me, some of us are behind me. That doesn't make any difference, but we're in a better place, and we're moving more and more of our stuff into a better place, all of our thinking and stuff like that. So, Andy, I think you nailed it. That was really cool what you said. Thanks.
I like what you just said about a baby, because now I can tell, and now I can say this, even this in your perspective, well, not in my perspective of what you just said, in the light of what you just said, in my light, uh, the baby comes in without even knowing. I think the baby at first, the baby comes in, doesn't is just included in all of it, and observing it all, like, right, and feels included because they're not separated until they smile or until they do something and get a reaction. They start to separate. They start to realize that they are the cause of an effect. They smile and you smile, and all of a sudden they're like, whoa. They cry and they get fed, and all of a sudden they're like, whoa. Like all these things start building on top. But when they first come in, yeah, they're just they come in and they don't even know their self yet. They don't even know that they're a cause. And at some point, they put it all together and say, oh wow, this is my world. I'm like i'm like the cause and effect, and they got it right. They are. And then someone, I don't know, spanks them or calls them naughty, or somehow puts something in them that they think, oh wait, I don't have it right. And then on top of it, we start building the conditioning, it seems. And wow, like now we're back to saying, oh no, I am the cause and effect in my world. Absolutely, 100. I am. And 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 though it may be taking a lot of responsibility, it feels like liberation, really. Because I mean, I don't feel like I have to do anything except for stay here and learn. Or I'm willing to stay here and learn, because wherever else I go afterwards, and now I believe there is another place, and it's going to be either repeating itself or not. And I'm not interested. I think that's what the common denominator of us in this room have, is that we're interested in in having more a better experience. Like you said, we're not just taking like life at face value that we see at the moment. We know that it doesn't have to be this way. It can be any way we want. It can be, anything we choose to see and put our attention on. So it's brought me to this place where it's like, whoa, you know what? I am the cause. I am the fact. And I feel that I've, I'm not there yet. I mean, I am there. Yeah, I am. And it's just going to unfold. But I will say that I can't, yeah, I just feel like nothing's going to surprise me. I'm just going to start testing it all now.
Yeah, in fact, yeah, that's why really it's powerful when you have this flash of love, innocence, inspiration, awe, wonder, or joy, because those are the things that reminds ourselves in this level what we really are. And Deepak says, like, don't let such moments simply pass you by. Stop and appreciate them, and ask that you receive more in the future. In this way, you open a feedback loop between first and second attention. You will continue to view the physical world as such, but its significance will change. You will start to see consciousness at work, being in motion. In this way, the realms of change and non-change begin to merge. Light starts to enter the world until the world is eventually seen as made of light and nothing else. Jesus experienced his existence that way and promised his followers that one day they will do too.
Yep. And there really is nothing working against us but the fact that we don't know this, or didn't know this. I think we do know this. We do know this. We just have to
Remember.
like remember it. Yeah. and
Yeah.
and not let any doubt get in there. There is no doubt, there is no fear, right? Well, those are the two things that can really flub it up. And when we believe that we know this, we wouldn't look at somebody else and say, well, there's something wrong with them. We wouldn't do that. We would say, what is it that I forgot,
Exactly. That's so cool. Amar, good morning. I just sent you an invitation to come upstage if you want to share something or let us know how you found the Course of Miracles, or how the book found you. You're welcome, my friend. The mic is yours.
But you'll have to come off mute, buddy.
I've only I haven't even read the Course in Miracles. It's just recently I've come across a lot of people who have told me about it. So I've just been kind of curious about it.
Sounds like it's calling out to you.
Yeah.
That's what it did with me. I found it, and then it found me again, and it found me again, and finally I picked it up. But yeah, I get that experience for sure.
Yeah, so I guess what I'm curious about with it is what the last person was saying was about how everything kind of turns to the light that already is us. How is it that we navigate the situation where, for me in my personal life, I can, there's the recognition that everything is that light at certain times, and then all of a sudden it goes totally back from that in one interaction.
Yep.
I could have an interaction with my mom, and then all of a sudden it's not seen as this one light anymore.
Yeah.
Now it's like I'm in an argument with my mom, and like I guess
Yeah, the
it's like,
differentiation. It's
yeah,
like
like
the ego is a prism and it breaks that white light up into 1,000 different colors. And
perfectly
it's at
said.
our
So
request. This is the most important thing, is to recognize this is a gift being presented at our request. And it's something that we do, and it happened between me and Adriana this week a half a dozen times to make it super clear to us that the tiniest judgment from the other person can enact rage from my ego in mine if I feel like I'm being judged the wrong way, or 1,000 other ways to put it. Because as you see in life, there's a billion ways for us to get out of that peace of mind that we have. But there's great news is there's only one easy way to come back. And it means stopping and reassessing the situation from a love's perspective, and then just coming back to it with love. If you can respond with love, it will defuse any bomb in your life. And sometimes it feels like somebody walks into your life and throws a bomb down and walks along their way and doesn't even give a crap. But that bomb is really our ego's reaction, and we're in complete control of that. We have the power to how we choose to react to the situation. And that gives us the entire scope of power that God is offering us to create a heaven here on earth by responding with love, rather than maybe in what our ego would think is in kind.
And when you have those kind of situations that you feel like there's a bond between you two and nothing, the bond in fact is a gift that needs to be seen, and it has been presented itself in different situations supposedly, but it's the same content. So whatever it is, the conflict that you're dealing right now with your mom, if it is that, check around you what other content or conflict do you have around your life that can be related to that, because there's maybe a message that you want to have for yourself in order for you to move in a little bit further in your process of understanding peace and love and all those things that needs to be seen. I mean, whenever we have those bombs, those are gifts. The thing that Andy was saying before is that she is not longer in the mindset of perceiving conflict like something fearful, because she knows, and we are all learning, that every single conflict in our lives represents something that we have not been able to understand about ourselves. So everything that is not understood or reordered in some form creates a little bit of chaos in your life, a conflict, an event of disruption. And that event of disruption is not to be feared, but to be seen, to be like go through, in order for you to get the gift of knowledge or of awareness or love. I mean, everything will come down to love, but for your mind to unravel the gift, it needs to really understand the dynamics of the content that it's trying to come forward to your consciousness. I guess this help. Sorry. I hope this helps, Amar.
it
I
does. It
also
does a lot. It does a lot. That was my main question, and that helped a lot. Thank you, guys.
I also have an experience where I had to understand that my brain is like memory. It's a memory organ. So like when something keeps coming back, it's coming back because it's like my brain is so quick at calculating that something was that I believed something was a problem in the past, even though I may have undid it in this moment. Like talking to you, my instant reaction is like the brain says, "Oh, and it's so fast that you don't catch it until after, and most of the time you don't catch it until after it shows up all the time, I feel. And then once it shows up, um, yeah, it depends how fast the person reacts. I'm a real reactor. Um, I react very quickly. It's just whatever, the way I process things. So usually for me, it's like, okay, but but one thing that I know, oh, let me not jump too far. It's just usually for me, it's like once I've reacted, I'm like, oh, okay, I just reacted. And what is that made me react? What was that memory? Because I don't really have to go through, figure it all out. Actually, just understanding that the brain had a memory, that there was a threat. I could say to myself, well, what did I just feel threatened about? And that obviously is a threat that I thought could threaten me. When now I realize that thoughts don't really, uh, they don't really have the power we give, or the memories don't have the power we give them, because they're just memories unless we're living in them still. And that's when they surface, when we're still living in them. So when they do surface, it is a gift, because we could say, oh, that's an old memory. And then we don't have to go delve too deep, and just to understand that that's
And
what
the
just
Holy
controlled
Spirit,
us. That's what just gave us a reaction.
the Holy Spirit's not going to shake us and wake us up either. We have to wake up on our own in our own peaceful way. It's not going to come as a big shock. It's going to be a peaceful choice of yours to wake up, breathe deeply, and realize you have another path open to yourself if you choose to take it peacefully.
And that's the
It's
book
like a
calling
quiet
you.
voice, right? It's like a quiet little voice.
Yes, yes, it's the
The Bible
quiet.
calls it a
So
still
quiet.
small voice. Yep.
It's so quiet you really can't hear it as words a lot of times. My experience is I don't hear it as words. It is the most peaceful, quiet suggestion that I have to take a deep breath to hear it. I have to take a deep breath and really relax, and then it can come back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amar,
That makes sense.
I would say to you, because this is the first time that you're hearing some of these. Well, it may not be the first time that you're hearing any of these thoughts, but they are contained in the book that we study every day called A Course in Miracles. And it would be nice if you could come in here one day and get to lesson 128, which is the workbook lesson, which comes after about 500 pages of general text. But I'm saying that tongue in cheek, of course. I do hope you'll continue to come, and there is a workbook that we are now working from lesson 1 to 365. So there's one for every day. You don't have to start in January 1st, but we did this year. So we are at 128 days into this year that we're in, 2022. I just wanted to point that out, because coming here doesn't mean that you get it all. However, like in one moment or anything, we don't get this. Most people don't get some kind of lightning awareness all of a sudden. And people do get lightning awarenesses from other things as well. For example, Adriana is reading a book by Deepak Chopra, who is obviously at a much higher level than many people on this planet. And this particular lesson this morning said, again, because I love it, and let it, and our mind gets released from its chains, and we seek a higher level where it finds itself at home. And I'm going to add the word again. Point being that it's all about levels. And one of the worst aspects of the world is when people at two different levels are arguing about the same thing, and each thinks they're right, and they are at their level. They're correct. But they're going to keep arguing, because the person at the lower level, what's he going to do? He's going to argue to bring you down to his level. And the other person is hopefully just going to smile and allow the child to do its tantrum or whatever it is. That's the way the world gets better. And each of us can really do something about our world as we study the principles here. And this book is not about a new religion. It's simply about miracles. It's a course in miracles. And something that Jesus said way back 2,000 years ago was, as Adriana mentioned, I think it was Adriana, we're all going to be able to do miracles someday, even more than and better ones than he did. I haven't tried to wake the dead, although sometimes it seems that way. But my point here is, It's a good world. It gets better as we bring ourselves up a level or two, maybe each day. It's like, to me, I always see it as a spiral. And we don't jump 15 levels just because we read a book, but it does help us move in a better direction if it inspires us, bringing the spirit inside us, inspire. So I've said enough here for now. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's my dad. Dad and I have been reading this book for the last 6 years. It definitely got me to a point. It definitely got me to a point where I could understand it much better than when I started. It doesn't mean that I didn't understand it a little bit then, and maybe you're farther along the path than any of us. But today, one day at a time, as I come and read these lessons, I start at 6:30 in the morning here in Clubhouse. And like Dad said, we started on the 1st of January with these lessons. But last year we went through the text and we covered the whole text. It took about 6 months to read it, starting about an hour to 2 hours every morning. And it seemed to be great to do it here on Clubhouse, to involve and make it open to as many people as I possibly can. And so I'm really grateful that you came and joined us for a little bit and were brave enough to come up here on the stage and talk and tell us where you're coming from. I think I don't agree with everything that Dad said. I think that there's a chance that people know this stuff and can get this stuff better than I can imagine with my mind and the way that it worked with me. And so I welcome every single person to come and experience it the way that they do. It has certainly shown up in my life very differently than I would have guessed even a year ago. Adriana and I lived together, and last year I was living with another woman in a whole different part of the state, and I was far away from my kids. I'm closer to where my kids live right now, and there's a whole world of difference. And I really have just been grateful and accepting and listening really carefully to that voice that is clearer and clearer to me every day. And I'm grateful you're here.
I just want to say, thank you for all of that. And then, also, this book just seems to have a certain magic about it because it just it's just appeared a lot in my life at various points without me ever reading it, but it's
There
been
are no
brought up at
accidents.
so many points. So then
No
I go into
accidents.
Clubhouse, and then this was the last thing I was expecting on here, and then I was like, oh, A Course in Miracles. Oh, there it is again. Okay.
That's so funny.
There's a link up at the top of the page to the YouTube. So right now we're live on YouTube, and I stream this stuff every single morning. We've got A Course in Miracles.live and a couple other URLs that we'll paste up here too. But it all comes back to the same thought, and thank God it does. That there's only one answer to every single problem that I have, and coming back to love is the easiest shortcut for me to say it. But I say it in terms of light, in terms of truth with a capital T, and 100 other ways through this book. We're also supported here by Tom, a gentleman who wrote a book about this book, for Dummies book, in fact, about this book, and that's what I read through first. So the very first time when I start in the morning, I read through the Course in Miracles workbook for Dummies, and it has not just the main text, but it expands it and helps make it clearer, and then there's a whole set of notes around it. And then after that, I go in to do a meditation. Since we're working on these lessons, there's specific things we're trying to accomplish today. And so I come back to that. Today's, for instance, is the world I see has nothing that I want. Our eyes deceive us with a lot of shiny things in front of them. But today, I can alleviate myself from being tempted because it's only delaying my true happiness when I look at the outside world. But when I come back inside, it's clear. The world outside has nothing that I want. I just want to release the peace and love that are inside of me so I can stand up and be that demonstration of God.
When you want only love, you will see nothing else, it says in the book. So you should probably follow your instincts. It doesn't matter if the book is not right now in your hands. The message is so strong in you that you're being pulled one and many times to this kind of contents. So make a miracle, my friend, with your mom. because we all are
Yeah.
allowed to do it. And
Time
send,
to follow the dreams.
yeah, I'll send big hugs to your mom on Mother's Day.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much.
Yeah,
I
you
would,
know, I look at it like the world, my world on the outside is my world on the inside. So if there's something going on, it's actually just being reflected back to me. It sounds woo woo, but it's the thing that is not. It's the only thing that's true. Actually, it's the only thing that's true for me,
That's
right?
not woo woo. That's true, true.
It's true, true. Hey, hey, we got a bar.
I would just say in regards to the course, one of the ideas in it is we're all on our own perfect path, and this world is a world of perception. And the course says rather than try and change your world, change how you view your world, and your world as you perceive it will realign to that new set of beliefs. So, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. There's no blame, shame, or guilt for where we are. We don't have to be further ahead. We're exactly where we are. And just trust that you have within you, and you mentioned it, this inner guide. And we're all guaranteed to wake up because our spiritual DNA is what we truly are, which is that higher self. And so you don't have to blame, shame, or guilt you or others. Just go with the flow and realize that we're here to reawaken to that truth, and you'll just be fine. Everybody is fine. There's never been anything wrong with any of us. It's our plan, and this and a lot of other mystic schools or other paths out there are designed to help us get a new plan, because we've been brought up with this idea that we are uh, an earner, and that we are a sinner, and that we now have lost our true identity and have to fight our way back. And this course, these ideas are just trying to give you that new plan so that you can drop that fear based thought system that we've been basically all indoctrinated into. Thank you.
Thank y'all for all of that. Thank you.
You're absolutely welcome. And we've been here about an hour and a half now. If anybody else would like to share, you're welcome to. We'll be back here tomorrow. I'm not going to have to close the room, but I just wanted to wrap things up on the stream. If there's anything else anybody wants to get out.
Well, you know what? I was thinking about something here with when it comes to like doubt. If I have like an idea that I want to see come to fruition, if I hold it long enough, it just happens. If I doubt it, it's never going to happen until I decide that it's time. And so that's when it's time, is when I've decided, that I've held it long enough because I have no doubt in it. And that's when it happens. And it's been that way with everything. I mean, if I was thirsty and decided it was time to get a drink, I did. If I decided, I'm thirsty but I don't really need to get a drink, I didn't. If I decided I don't know if I'm thirsty, I didn't. I'm just like trying to put it in really simple terms because it's all really simple. Like, we do this stuff already. We either doubt something or we don't, but when we don't doubt it, it happens. And then we think, oh, there's different like sizes of the doubt. Like, in other words, there's different thing. Oh, there's something that I want to come to fruition, and we think, well, it's this is little, I can do it. That's the reason you do it. This is big, I can't do it. That's the reason you don't. But if you said there is no like measurement to your desire happening, um, then you would see more things happen. And that's what I'm doing and I'm seeing, and that's the true that I'm finding. And I'm testing things because it's okay. I thought, well, maybe I'll start with the little stuff, and that's kind of what we do because we're afraid to be like disappointed maybe in the big stuff. But because then we put a time frame on it, Well, I can easily get a drink right now, but I can't be sitting in a Lamborghini right now. But that's it's not about time either. It's just about, do you want it? It's going to happen. And it is kind of about time, actually, here in this time
Yeah,
thing. It is, but it's still going
it's
to
all
happen
good.
if you hold it, and you will find a way to get it, or to sit in it at least, or to drive it if you want to, or to own it if you want to. I don't know. There's like really no. There's
It's
the
called
only thing that
manifesting.
sets
Look
in.
it up.
There you go. There you go. The only thing that sets in is doubt and fear. And once you've seen that doubt and fear are just coming because you are looking at the world as something that's happening to you and you not being the cause, that's the difference. Okay.
Well put, Andy. Well put. Go ahead, Amar.
I just had a question about the whole manifesting thing. Like, I guess, like, if if the ideal is happiness without causes, or like just pure happiness and love, then, because I've had this like conflict in my head when I hear these manifesting things, because I also do like
Yeah,
gravitate towards them, but then like I'm also like, well, why would I want to manifest something if the goal is to just be happy without needing to manifest anything
that's
ever?
right. Absolutely. That is the true lesson in there. I know Tom has some great ways of helping. He had some great ways of helping me see this. And it also has to deal with, the book talks a little bit about magic. Like, our idea of magic is kind of, from the book's perspective, stuff the ego does to try and trick ourselves into thinking that we can get stuff for nothing. But it's ego manipulation tools. And Tom, if you could help me remember the principles that go into this true manifestation that you talk about, I'd really appreciate that.
Well, I don't think that we have really the time to talk about that.
Okay.
It's not so much what we do, and you speak of manifest. Uh, it's if you want to be a powerful creator, you can manifest things. The question is not what we do, but why we do it. If our purpose, I want $1 million, is because I want to uh, have, buy what someone said, Lamborghini, or just because I think that $1 million will make me happy. Uh, Depending on our beliefs, that we can manifest those things. But in time and space, it's really a question of why I want something, why I do things. And we're all learners, and we're in a growth process. And one of the things that some people are here to learn about is that God didn't make any junk, and that we maybe are powerful creators if we want to, and we can be or demonstrate anything that we want. So it's a very interesting subject. I think it's too much to get into at this time, but just realize that we're all on our own perfect path. And one of the things that people are, and sometimes we come in with the idea that we're a victim. And if I perceive myself to be a victim of outside forces beyond my control, one of the steps that may help you reawaken to the truth of what you really are is to start realizing that you are somewhat causative in your world, and therefore to become to realize that you have the ability to create something may be a necessary baby step in the reawakening process. So wherever we are, we're on our own perfect path. This idea that we're a victim, though, uh, is something that will keep us away from reawakening to the truth of who we really are. And so each is on their own perfect path. This idea that you can manifest it, it's a question of learning that you have power. Someone said, let me just say this to you. What I'd like you to do is, if you're around, look at your outside world. And what I'd like you to do is focus on something, a pencil, a book. And what I'd like you to do is try and pick that up and just try and do that. And then what I want to ask is, what did you do? Did you actually pick that book up, or is that book still on the ground or wherever it was? Uh, in reality, as Andy said, there is no such thing as try. There is do and do not. So if I tried to pick, I don't know if you can see this, but here's a stapler. If I tried to pick up a stapler and I was just trying, I wouldn't do it. I either pick it up or I don't. There's no such thing as try. And in regards to this, you either do or do not. And what we have to do is realize the power of our beliefs, and also realize that in time and space, there's some physical laws that apply that may restrict that ability. For example, if I want to be the richest person in the world, no matter what my motivation is, uh, in time and space, I may be able to achieve that result, but I'm not the only kid playing in the sandbox. And if I want to be the richest person, there's only one that can be that at any given moment of time. And therefore, since I'm in a world of the mass collective consciousness, I may not always be able to manifest uh, everything as I wanted, because there might be somebody else that actually has a stronger belief that they deserve to be the richest person in the world, and that the world is more in their alignment. They're on the right bar magnet. So like Kate, this is a very interesting topic. I love to go into it, but I don't think that just realize that uh, God didn't make any junk. You are not a victim. There are no victims or victimizers in this dimension of time and space. We're all willing volunteers that have come here to learn and demonstrate the truth of their spiritual magnificence, that God didn't make any junk, and to reawaken to the truth and to demonstrate what love would have me do in a world of seeming hate and fear. So, that I don't know. It's such it's a very interesting topic, and I'd love to get into it, but I just don't think we had the time.
Yeah, it is late. It
Thank
is late.
you.
Yeah.
And we have more time tomorrow and the next day and the next day. We get started at 6:30 so that we have enough time to cover this. And one day at a time, we definitely will get through it. So if you keep coming back, we'll learn about it together. I know Tom's made me a lot better at it. My God, I don't even know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it great. So
Yeah.
There's
Here's just
also,
one thing.
oops.
If you work with the workbook lessons and you get to 365, I think that uh, you'll find that you've made reasonable progress in reasonable time, and that will open up a whole new world, and your world will become one of greater inner peace, which is where really happiness comes from. And you will also be able to more effectively work in this dimension of time and space to be the light that will light up your world. And your world is your own circle. not the world of the mass collective consciousness. You can live in your own world of peace and happiness in this time and space, even though the world outside seems to be a place of hate and fear. I hope that helps. Thank you. Create a
I
great
wanted
day.
to also I wanted to mention holy instances too, because we have holy instances every moment, and it's where we maybe put our attention. And I was going to say there was a time when I decided to become a sign language interpreter, and I went to college and for it, and we were not allowed to speak. And even with the hearing students, we were not allowed to speak, and it was 8 hours all day long, and except for lunch, we could speak. But I learned from the best. I learned from deaf teachers, and there was a couple of deaf assistants, and they did not speak because in this college, there's three main colleges for them. They we would have considered, like, hearing people would consider them somewhat stubborn, but they have their own world and community, and if you were going to go in it, they didn't want even to learn how to speak because they felt that they sounded silly or no one could understand them anyway. So basically, we were not to speak. And let me tell you, I learned. So, like, it's who we hang with that we're going to learn. So we choose who we want to hang with. If we want to hang with the top dog, I learned very quickly. I'm talking about weeks. I had 50% of the sign language interpreting down in just weeks. It was a 6-week program. So, yeah, I think that it matters what we surround ourselves with, and what we put in our mind um, is and our attention to.
Well, today's a good day to give attention to the mamas in our life, and I'm going to spend some time. I wish a happy Mother's Day to all the mommies here.
Say hi to my mom for me, Dad.
I will
Please.
do it.
We're gonna call her in a moment.
And Sean,
Okay.
down there, Sean, I really, really appreciate you being a son for my mom in North Carolina today. I know that's going to help bring her peace. Thank you so much, brother. I do appreciate you so much.
Glad to do
Boy,
it.
oh boy. I can manifest a kid for my mom distance-wise. It's fantastic. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. You guys can stay here and chat, and I want you all to have a fantastic Sunday, wonderful Mother's Day. Blessings to you all. Thanks. We'll be here tomorrow morning at 6:37 to read Workbook Lesson 129.
Create a great day. Namaste.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Tom, and everybody. And Amar, I hope we can meet you here more often. And if not, well, my friend, you are being guided all the way. Don't worry.
Thank all of you. I thank all of you. So awesome. Also, just to say, I get into arguments with my mom, but I love my mom to death, and we're gonna hang out tomorrow and have a good time.
Wonderful. Mother's Day is tomorrow in Mexico, so there's plenty of Mother's Day this week to spread it out. It's going on all around the world.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Thanks for being here.
Tuesday, but tomorrow is my birthday, so that's why he gets confused.
That's only one of the reasons I get confused, but I got a whole quiver full of reasons to get confused. Oh man, thank you guys for being here.